Good morning, everyone. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another episode of ROG Vlog. What am I talking about? Oh yeah. Okay, I have a topic. I can't think of a title for it that makes a lot of sense. You'll understand as I get into it. But basically what I want to talk about is the process of finding juggling tricks, and I guess the ownership that's involved in there. That's what I want to talk about. But I want to like explain it in terms of a specific trick that I did. I guess I don't really do it anymore because it's kind of hard. But it's this trick. This cross-armed multiplex hit with the helicopter. You can see that in my Hoodie Boy act. You can see that in my Peach Fuzz video. It's out there. I did it. It's my trick, and I just want to talk about how I got to that trick, because there's plenty of jugglers who do multiplex tricks where they hit the clubs with 5. That's a thing that people do. I talked about it before. I talked about Larry. I talked about Alexi. There's other jugglers for sure that do that. In general, I may be completely out of pocket for saying this, but basically, anytime I see somebody doing a multiplex trick with 5 and they're hitting one of those clubs, I think of it as my trick. Or I think of it as my, like, it came from me and my inspiration. I know that could be like completely wrong, and people have been doing multiplex hits before I have. But still, that's how I feel. That's like, just when I see those tricks, I'm like, yeah, they probably saw me do something similar. And that definitely is my ego talking, and it's definitely not the case in every situation. But I want to talk about why I feel like that. Like, what about those tricks makes me feel like I've done them all, they all come from me. Even though, again, I know it's not true. So let's go back. Let's go back and let's talk about the process of how I got to that trick, that cross-armed multiplex helicopter. I want to go back to the beginning, and I want to go through each step and show you how I got to there. So the first trick of the tricks that got me there was like this 4 club start that I used to do. It's like 4 clubs, blop blop, multiplex, bop. It's a start. Obviously, I've done tricks before that, and like I would have to go back to every single time that I hit a club, then I have to go back even before with the multiplex and where I learned that. And like, okay, so like that's the path that like was already mapped out by other jugglers. I'm talking about the path that started for me, you know, like the first bush that I chopped down that had this cool multiplex hit thing. From there we're going, because like we could go back as far as possible, but it's not so interesting for me. So yeah, first one was this 4 club multiplex start, and then, since I don't really care much for 4 club tricks at that time specifically, I made it into a 5 club start. It was a multiplex with a little tail bop. Very cool trick. I like that one a lot. It instantly got a lot of recognition from not only the jugglers at my school. This was back when I was in circus school. Not only the jugglers who went to school with me and saw that trick, but some other friends of mine who do not juggle. So that's always a plus if I can show someone a trick that is not a juggler and they're like, oh, that's cool. So it was good. I knew it was a keeper. I knew I wanted to keep going down this path, so I did. So the next obvious progression for me for that trick was to hit it and it like hold the club a different way. So I did that one, the one that you see Alexi doing, the one that you see Lori doing. And I wasn't really sure if anyone did that. I went back and watched 10 Liters Milk because I remember that video very fondly, and I had like a feeling that I saw something similar. So I went back and I watched that video, saw he did it. I was like, okay, that's not the trick. Somebody else had it. That's a little moment of like pathing cross paths crossing paths. One of those things where it's like, okay, we both found the trick. Nice to see you. I'm gonna keep going my way. You could keep going your way. Maybe we'll see each other again. So the next thing that I tried to play with that was obviously hit the club in different places. See what happens when I hit it. I don't know. Instead of hitting it from the tail, I hit it from the body. Didn't really like that. It just made it spin more and it was way too scary. And it didn't really like add anything to the trick. Honestly, it took away from the trick. The cool part was that it went one direction, I hit it and went the other direction. That was cool to me. I really enjoyed that. I also found like I could hit it in the middle, but that just sent it flying straight up. Then it hit me, or I guess I hit it. You could hit it sideways and make it do a helicopter. That was awesome. I love helicopter spins. Seeing a club go this way is like really bizarre for a lot of people. They're not expecting it. So I really like that. It was like obviously the right choice of all the different directions I could have hit it. I hit it inside, but it like I didn't really like the catch there. It was like outside felt the most natural. It was easy to catch. Coaches liked it. The other jugglers liked it. Other people in the school liked it. I was like, okay, that is the trick. I'm gonna keep that one. I love this area that I found in the forest. Call back to the pathways and forest metaphor. I love this area. I'm gonna stick with it. I still do that trick now, still in my act. I definitely have like added to it a little bit, but like that was a keeper for sure. But I still had, I don't know, 3 more years left in circus school, so I thought I should still try exploring new tricks. So I tried a few things. I tried adding more hits, like I would hit it sideways and then bop it up. That was fine. I felt like it kind of honestly took away from the trick. It would have been a nice like finish to it, but it was just too messy for me. It didn't feel like a trick. It felt like I was just adding things on for no reason. It had no purpose. And I like tried a few different ways of hitting it. None of them really felt great to me. So it was obvious. The one hit was great. I liked the throwing it up, hitting the bottom one. That felt good as a idea. So I was like, all right, what else could I do? I could change the spin of the multiplex. I could try it with singles. That was honestly too hard. It didn't feel right. I didn't like the separation. There was a few reasons that I didn't really do it. But from changing the spin of the multiplex, I found like, oh, if I went back and did like this hit or that hit, there were more interesting things there. I was like, okay, that's nice. I'll work on that later, which I have been, and I will show you those tricks eventually. But the most, I don't know, fruitful discovery was body throws, adding body throws into it. First one I did was a back cross, and I was like, that's amazing, love that. Turns out back crosses in multiplex is really hard to do, especially if you're trying to hit a club with them. So I didn't do the back crosses. So instead, I tried under the leg, whatever. I tried under the arm, and that was the one that made the most sense. Because I threw it under the arm, and as I opened up to throw the other one under the arm, I got to hit it in the air. Like it was perfect. It felt good. Like when you're in it, I was like, oh, this is like a nice rhythm to it. It didn't take away from the image of the trick. It added more movement. I loved it. I thought it was like very much the best option of all the things that I found. And then once I found that trick, I was like, okay, this is a good spot. Gonna stick to this spot, and let's go back and try the different variations, but with the cross arm. So I would like try it, hitting it this different ways that I tried before. I tried all sorts of different variations with it, but the one that I liked the best was the one that I put in my act, the cross-armed, hitting the helicopter. That was the trick that I chose for my Hoodie Boy act. Love that trick. That's the one that I go, oh, this is my trick. That's the trick I don't want anyone to do. That's the trick that I feel the most strongly about all the other tricks that I do. Even though like the one that's a little bit more basic, just the regular multiplex hitting into the helicopter, I still do that one. I don't really want anybody to do that trick if I'm being honest. But like the cross-armed one is really a more unique trick, I think. So yeah, that's the one that like I'm sticking with it. But what happens to the other tricks that I found? What about all the other tricks along on that path that I cleared away? I like opened up the path to show all these tricks. I found all of them. They're all my tricks. What happens to those? Are people allowed to do them? Do I still own those tricks? Even though I didn't put it in the act. I didn't put it in my Hoodie Boy act because I already had the cross-armed hit. I felt like if I added another hit, multiplex hit trick like that, it would have been a little redundant, you know? It didn't add anything to the act. Do I need to put out a YouTube video showing every single variation of that trick that I found? Honestly, it sounds kind of boring. I would not really enjoy watching a video like that, but that's just me. I understand that other people like doing that kind of thing. But I still want the like recognition of finding these tricks. I'm still very excited about them. I found them, I showed them to my friends at circus school. They all know that I came up with all those variations, but like, what good is that? That's just like 10 people, you know? I need the glory of the whole juggling community. But more importantly, I want, if somebody else does a trick that I did on that path, I want them to know that I did the trick. Again, this is my ego. I'm projecting all my ego out there. Being honest, this is important discussions if we're talking about this. Important to be honest in these discussions. So I don't know. If I see somebody else do a trick that I've done on that path, which I have, people are doing these tricks, how am I supposed to feel? Should I not feel anything because I don't do those tricks? I didn't put those tricks into a video? For me, it seems pretty obvious that I did all those tricks. You know, like the juggling creative process is pretty logical and linear if you ask me, and honestly, if you ask a lot of other jugglers. Most of the times it goes like that. You go, oh, this is a trick that I found. Let me just try doing it with a different spin, hitting the club in a different place, adding a body throw, adding a spin, trying to speed it up, slow it down, do it in reverse. You just go through those different, I don't know, processes. You try different things, and it's all very logical, and you should do that with every trick that you find, because maybe there's something in there that you didn't think of beforehand. But yeah, that's basically the question. If you come up with a trick, do you own the whole process to get to that trick? Because yeah, it was a lot of hard work to like clear out the pathway of all those multiplex tricks. Even though I'm not the first person to do a multiplex 5-club hitting trick. I'm not the first person to do it. Like I said, I saw Alexi do that stuff. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed this video.